Hi, everybody. I'm Candid Frank Stanisci, and welcome to Candid Frank Live, where we are found here airing our views on the Spanglish World Network on Zingo TV, channel 250. Please remember to download the Zingo TV app at the respective app stores for iOS and Android devices. While you download, make sure you rate, leave, comment. Both apps are absolutely free. Zingo TV is available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire TV, sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 forward. Now, joining me on Candid Frank Live, as usual, is Aaron William Freeland. And Aaron finds himself back from Montreal. He drove to Montreal to watch people drive around in a circle. I think that's the most important thing that we can talk about right now. I told you I was having problems with my computer.
Yeah.
My mouse isn't working.
Ah.
That's the next thing. It's getting to be one of those days. Okay. So I'm using my phone for your notes that you want to talk about. So I can't use my computer. So I apologize, folks, if I'm not looks like I'm not paying attention to Aaron. It's not that I'm not paying attention to Aaron. It's actually that I am paying attention to Aaron. So Aaron, the most important thing we can talk about right now is the experience you had this weekend. I want to hear it from you because I can't imagine how thrilled and how much fun you had, and I want you to share with us the good and the bad, and if there was any ugly, I guess you could tell us about that. But I'm sure most of it was awesome.
Well, to start with, Friday and Saturday it rained. Like when I say rained, talking gods and cats and dogs and little fishies. It was coming down that heavily on Friday that I was soaked through to the bone. It followed that up on the Saturday, all throughout the practice session. Continued to rain. I did still manage to get burnt. Those of you with high definition TVs will see that my face from about here down is red. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah. We can
and
see
then
it.
everything else
I
from
can
here up
see
is
the nose.
white.
You
But
got you got the real good red glare going on in the nose. You look like Rudolph.
it made everything extremely difficult for the teams as well because they had to qualify in the wet and then race on Sunday
Oh,
in the dry. So the car setup is completely different. It's different
the
tires.
tires.
It's
Yeah.
all sorts of different stuff. There was actually a very funny moment when when George Russell came out right at the tail end of the qualification sessions and decided to put on red slicks instead of rain tires. And it was, well, there were dry patches on the track, right? So it looked like potentially he could have been able to pick up some speed, but it was one of those I've made a terrible mistake moments. Yeah, the race was everything that we absolutely expected of it. Verstappen and Alonso started on the front row. Sainz and Hamilton started 3-4. In a great surprise, Magnussen and Schumacher started in fifth and sixth in their Haas cars. Then you had Esteban Ocon and George Russell starting seventh and eighth. Daniel Ricciardo and Zhou Huanyu starting in ninth and 10th. Valtteri Bottas and Alexander Albon in the 11th and 12th positions. Sergio Perez and Lando Norris 13-14. Pierre Gasly and Sebastian Vettel 15-16. Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi, the two Canadians, and their Aston Martins. One in a Mercedes, the other in a Ferrari. That started at 18 and 19. And you see Yuki Tsunoda, the AlphaTauri, another one of the AlphaTauri drivers, started in 20th. So lots of fun out there racing. Great to see everybody out there. The stands were absolutely packed. The beer was absolutely overpriced, and the sun was absolutely gorgeous.
So it sounds to me like you had a lot of fun. Now, what about from the perspective, because this is important to me, that you spend some time on the track as sort of a functioning person that makes a race work. You play a part. Did you notice the part that you play, and did you see how they played it? Do you understand my question?
I do. I was great to actually see them all working out there. The corner marshals all have a great deal of experience, so they know what they're doing. They know when to flag. They know how to flag. A lot of that becomes automatic as you watch races progress. Many of them, like myself, started off with smaller tracks like Canadian Tire Motorsports Park and Shannonville and Sunset Speedway and Merrittville and all that sort of fun stuff. And the pit marshals, it's the same deal. The people that are doing this all have been at it for years. So, but it is good to see them all functioning and great to shake their hands after the race as well to thank them for a job well done.
and you really enjoyed it. So you learned something then as well.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. It's a
So
great
you went as someone looking to be entertained as a race car aficionado, and then a race car um, participant, kinda, right? Because you're part of the, they're an integral part of the race. So there's, and you learn something. And let me ask you this question: what was it like driving there and then driving back to Montreal, back to
Oh my
Toronto, to
God.
Mississauga? Actually,
Friday morning, we actually left Toronto at 6 a.m. and got into Montreal just in time for the lunch hour rush. Managed to actually, it was great. The place that we were staying was one subway stop away from the track itself, but it was a 20-minute walk from the subway station to our actual seats in the grandstand. So while the
wow,
subway ride itself only took 4 or 5 minutes, the actual trip was about 40 based on how far we had to get to the subway and then how far we had to go to get to our seats.
wow.
Oh
And
yeah,
when you
it's
say subway, you're talking about the metro,
yes, that's correct.
because that's what they call it out there in Montreal.
And technically speaking, it's the Société de Transport Métro, but yes, that is called the metro
Okay,
there.
don't complicate things, Aaron. I mean, in England, it's the tube. It's not the long thing that looks like a tube. Tube. It's the tube. Okay. Anyway, never mind. I'm just having some fun with you. Okay. About 40 minutes ago, I tried bringing up my Outlook so I could get the email from you and what you're going to talk about. 40 minutes ago, it just came up right now.
Oh, perfect.
I'm looking at it right now, so we can discuss. I'll see how it reacts to, to my mouse, because my mouse is saying I'm here, I'm not here. This is fun. I got to tell you. I mean, back in the day, this would frustrate the heck out of me. My Italian temper would kick in, and I'd lose it like that. But today, it's too much fun, actually, knowing that you had a chance to do something I know you were looking forward to for a very long time. So I'm happy for you, brother, that you had a good time, that it was everything you expected, and I didn't hear a single bit of bad news other than the fact that it was a bit of a walk to the track to your seats. So that's part of the equation when you're going to a racetrack. I mean, the avenues to arrive at your seats. Anybody who's been to Molson Indy, if you live in Toronto, you're watching the show, you'll know there's a lot of places to sit. I'll tell you my story very quickly. When I went to Molson Indy, that was back in the 80s, no, 90s, early 90s. The security wasn't the same. I was standing by one of those concrete blocks, by what's it called? The Prince's Gates,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they
Yep.
have those blocks. I literally had my hand on top of a car. Car was driving underneath my hand. And I have it on video too, just to prove I'm not BSing. I have it on video as well. So, yeah. So, oh, look at that. It left, Aaron.
Oh darn.
It left. The little bugger left me. All right. There goes Outlook. I guess it's doing things I told it to do about a half hour ago. It's doing what I told it to do 25 minutes ago. So maybe it's going to come back up again. Anyway, let's talk about the CFL. You mentioned here the Argos outlast the Als in the season opener. We were both there for that game. What a game.
That was absolutely fantastic. I mean, yeah, Toronto jumped out to a decent lead by the end of the third quarter, but after that, it was all Montreal. I'm not sure exactly where the wheels fell off, but to have the game decided the way that it was with a missed field goal with almost no time left was just absolutely fantastic. Couldn't ask for a better opener.
Well, it seems to me, I think it'd be fair to say that essentially that's the way last season went. You remember how many games that they won because their kicker, the opposing kicker, could not kick a field goal? Remember, it hit the
It's
post? There were a
it's
couple that hit the post.
it's something about where the stadium is and where the wind comes in off the lake during the second half. I think that might have something to do with it.
I'll be honest with you, Aaron. I don't have a clue. It's got me. It's got me wondering. It's just amazing that this is another year of that where the Argos can't help but win. And they said there were. I think they said there were 12,000 people there.
Sounds about
Um,
right.
that's not bad, considering the Yankees were in Toronto playing the Blue Jays. That is the biggest draw that there is for the Blue Jays, the Yankees, especially this year, the best team in baseball. So that's a tough thing. So yeah, so the Argos win. Once again, a little difficulty scoring. They had a touchdown. New Argo, Brandon Banks gets his first touchdown as an Argo. Good for him. And and then of course the other games were ridiculous. The Red Blacks once again lost to the Blue Bombers. They didn't look as good this time as they did last week.
Now this they basically got shut down for the entire second half. There was the defense from the Bombers was absolutely stifling. I'm not even sure how many yards they actually managed to get in the second half, Frank. I'm not sure if you've got that available to you.
No,
but
I can't pull anything up. Like I said, my computer is just said, Frank, good night, see you later. You're on your own. But I can assure you that it wasn't that much. The Stamps, they come back from a 24-0 lead, 24-3 at halftime to beat the Hamilton Die-Cats, because I think we're going to change the name to the Die-Cats because they just died in the middle of the game. It's just unbelievable. And the fans are going, this is starting to become a habit, the Grey Cup. And it's essentially they lost this game. It looked like the Grey Cup. It was an interception, a tip, and an interception. Not as many volleyball moves as there was in the Grey Cup, but still, it wasn't a clean interception. It was a helped interception.
Now, 27 points in the third and fourth quarters to me says something's not going right with the offense. Something is misfiring somewhere. They need to actually sit back and take a few minutes and try to figure out exactly what's going on here, because getting outscored 27-6, 30-6, essentially, including overtime in the second half is definitely not the way any team wants to play it.
No, and losing that way is just terrible. And the Hamilton Die-Cat fans, sorry about the Die-Cats thing, but pun intended. What can I say? Yeah, they're having it rough now. This year, the Grey Cup's going to Saskatchewan, so if this is a bad year for the Die-Cats, then so be it. There's always next year when they do get the Grey Cup again in Hamilton, and maybe they can straighten out their team. Caretaker Bob and company can make that team play a little more consistently well. So for you Argo fans that are really happy about the way the Die-Cats are playing, cool your jets, dudes, because last year the Hamilton Tiger Cats lost their first two games and they still ended up at the Grey Cup. So what it does mean is losing those first two games makes it more difficult for the Die-Cats to finish first. And right now the East doesn't look so. I think that the East is not as bad as the East is. They're a lot better than what they're showing. The first week were games in the West for the Eastern teams, so they were road teams. Another game, this one was a total Western thing, but it included the Elks, and the Elks, oh boy, their fans aren't real happy, and they didn't get any happier in the game against the Riders this past weekend.
No, I mean, so they were outscored 12-7 in the first half, and then 14-9 in the second. You know that's not going to go your way. The Rough Riders are actually definitely playing like a team that's hosting and definitely wants to keep it. So it's one of those things where the Elks look porous. Really, it seemed that the Roughies were able to score at will. So it's an issue. Fajardo looked impressive. He completed 20 of 26 for 247 yards. And he capped off his night with a touchdown in the fourth. So he seems to be fitting in well there after concerns. So
yeah, and well, and the other thing is he looked fine after the incident last week with Simone Lawrence hitting him and getting fined for the hit. Let's move over to lacrosse. We love our lacrosse. The season ended, and the Colorado Mammoth win the championship. Buffalo could just couldn't get on track. They fell behind and could not make it work after that. The Mammoth did a great job of keeping Buffalo under wraps, and that's a tough thing to do.
No, it most definitely is. The Bandits have one of the most stifling defenses, and at the same time, one of the more explosive offenses. They're able to score goals in bunches, but at the same time, shut you down. They're usually very disciplined as well when it comes to penalties. So the fact that the Colorado was actually able to take the game 10-8 on Buffalo's home floor in Game 3 was absolutely stunning and absolutely fantastic. So, and coming in as the third seed from the West playoffs as well, it was good to see them beat Calgary in the first round before beating San Diego in two. In one of, I think, the best of three, one of the best series that I've seen in a while.
Well, they were well worth the victory. They played well when it counted, and that's what the playoffs are all about. And I say Colorado again because now when you talk about Colorado, you can talk about them in the National Hockey League. Aaron, what is this about towns that win championships in bunches? Tampa Bay, right? The NFL, the NHL, right? Baseball. They had the three wins, and now we've got Colorado that has jumped to a 2-0 lead over the Tampa Bay team, and it's looking good for Colorado to win another championship out there in Denver. But can you count out Tampa Bay? They figure out a way to come back. I mean, all they got to do is win the next game, and then it's a different series.
I think this is one of the first times in recent memory that the Lightning have lost 2 games in a row. They're usually very, very good at not losing 2 games in a row. That I think has been one of the hallmarks of Vasilevsky's tenure there. I mean, yeah, sure. Burakovsky scored 123 into overtime from Nichushkin in game one to win that one 4-3. But just the absolute butt kicking in game two, 7-0 was a little bit of a surprise for everybody, I think.
Absolutely.
I think Colorado played their game to a T. Hard nosed, hard checking, get into the corners fast. Don't give Tampa Bay room to breathe. The Lightning didn't have a chance to get anything wheeling or moving at all. It was completely stifled. I'll be anxious to see how they look in another hour and a half or so when the game 3 goes live. So we'll have to see how that looks.
Can we agree, Aaron, that when it comes to sports and when it comes to injuries, we have concerns? There are some people who think, if you allow body checking for younger players, it'll help in making sure that they can handle the rough go. But there's a study that says that it doesn't help with concussions and such.
Yeah, this was an ongoing study by the University of Calgary Sports Injury Prevention Research Center. And despite the claim by a lot of hockey diehards and those who believe in the old school of hockey, where teach them young and teach them right, they've actually discovered that the opposite is actually true. They did a 3-year study tracking 15 to 17-year-old hockey players with 3 or more years of body checking experience, and they found that those individuals who started hitting younger had more than double the injuries and concussions as those with 2 years or less of body checking experience.
After they went through that, so just so we're clear, we're not talking about the time that they were body checking or the time that they weren't body checking. We're talking post those 2 experiences. What happened soon after? Is that what they're saying?
Well, basically, all those players 15 to 17 years old who had 3 or more years of body checking experience were more injured than the same group of 15 to 17-year-olds with 2 years or less of body checking experience.
Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it's just, if you're going to hit somebody, that's when injuries are going to happen.
Well, there is that, but at the same time, they're not being taught how to properly ride players out. They're just taught to go out and run into people and baggage smash. I've seen some of the coaching that goes on at lower levels of hockey, and there's no concern for how to actually do a check right. Everybody's looking for that massive open ice hit. Everybody's looking for the boards to bounce. They're not actually doing that strategically, and that is the major problem. So you have all these bad habits that get ingrained with kids that start learning at 6 or 7 years old to hit, as compared to kids who are a little more tentative because they've only started body checking 2 or 3 years ago, that take the time to figure out the best way to do it.
Okay. Well, what I was trying to figure out was, does having experience lend itself to you having less concussions? I don't think this answers my question. Basically, what it's saying is it's just defining 2 different groups of hockey players: ones that check and ones that don't. And what we're hearing is that ones that check have injuries. That doesn't surprise me. What I was hoping to understand is, if in the first 2 years, let's say in the last 2 years, you didn't body check, in the last 2 years another group did body check, what happens the first year they come in? You know what I mean? Like, how does that? I thought this report could help us with understanding of what happens after you get taught and you understand. That's what I want to know. But maybe
Okay. So I can give you a little bit more information about this as well. Hockey
okay.
Calgary said the organization wanted to know whether its earlier decision to remove hitting in the under 13 age group left players
See,
at a
that's what I'm
greater risk of
asking.
injury. I was getting there when they
Okay.
moved up to start body checking. It's been a question that's been asked all the time, but not checked at younger ages. The studies show that by removing body checking for kids under 13, the kids actually learn to body check at older levels and do it correctly. So there are fewer injuries and concussions. I mean, the obvious answer
That's
is
good.
yes, you've been
Okay.
checking for longer. So,
Well,
but yeah,
that's the answer I was looking for. Not that specific answer, but the fact that they did that. That's what I want to know. So so the conclusion that you and I can draw, if we're on the same page, is that starting body checking early enough that the kids don't really understand or can't learn is useless. It's best to
yes,
not have them body check for the first few years and then start to learn when their bodies are ready to handle how you hit and how you take a hit, if I understand.
exactly.
Okay, good. Because I want to make sure that the viewers aren't confused because I get so confused so easy. All right. So Tom Rennie, longtime hockey guy, Hockey Canada guy, was a coach in the National Hockey League, switched to Team Canada. Great career. He's retiring.
Yeah. Now he said that it's a decision I've been preparing for over the past year, and while it's never easy, and the time I know the time is right, and I'm grateful for the past 8 years. During his time, Rennie helped guide Canada's national men's, women's, and para hockey teams to 28 medals in international competitions. So that's 9 gold, 15 silver, and 4 bronze. And there is obviously a question about why he's resigning now. When recent allegations of sexual assault from a 2018 and 2019 Canadian junior team has come to light. But more hopefully will become revealed in the coming days. Now, Tom Rennie did acknowledge that. Like he did say, look, Hockey Canada is on a journey to change the culture of our sport to make it safer and more inclusive. We acknowledge the issues of maltreatment, including bullying, harassment, racism, homophobia, and sexual abuse exist in hockey as they do in other sports in our society. We've been working on this since before the London incident. So that's the 2017-18
Right.
World
The
Junior
one that we're
Championship.
talking about.
Yeah, but we recognize that as leaders, we need to do more, and we're committed to doing that.
And good for them. And
Yeah.
here's the deal. Here's the deal. I want to make this clear. This is an opinion only, but what we're looking for is, new school hockey thinking as opposed to the other version, old school. So there has to be some new
Exactly.
thinking. And now he gets out of the way. They can bring somebody in who understands 2022, understands social fabric and social structure, and understands mutual respect and all the other things that we need to understand in hockey that up until now, we've seen evidence, proof consistently that that hockey just has not done a good job in being up with the social responsibilities that they should have at this time, at this juncture, for, of course, women and people of color and other minorities. So hopefully they'll bring somebody in who brings in other people that understand. And I know there's a lot of people there that go, oh, here we go, the sensitive stuff. Oh my God, they're ruining the game. No, they're not ruining the game, folks. They're bringing the game up to speed. And by speed, I mean up to what should be expected by every young player, man, woman, girl, boy, child, has a right to have when they go to play hockey. We have respect that we should get, and it has to happen. So it's happening, and hopefully it'll move quickly, and we'll figure out how to ensure hockey players understand people and understand respect. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Frank,
Fran,
I think that's good a place as ever to cut this off because I think we've touched everything major that we absolutely need to.
okay, I was just gonna say France reshaped. Interesting that. Never mind.
We
Okay.
can actually touch on that on Wednesday when we've got a little more time and it's a little less sports heavy.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, Aaron, thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it.
I'm Candid Frank Stanisci. Thank you for watching Candid Frank live, airing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. This show can also be heard on the Spanglish World Radio Network. For Candid Frank live, other news, entertainment, and sports programming we offer, please check out SpanglishWorld.ca. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao for now.